Welcome to Warriors Analysis, where we are going to look at the greatest warriors the world has ever seen in media, pop culture, and history. Today we are going to look at the mighty hero of time and legendary Hylian warrior, Adult Link from Ocarina of Time. This version of the character is Adult Link at the very end of the game before returning the Master Sword back to the Temple of Time. There are a few things to consider about Link's warrior prowess in this game, so we will be looking at his characteristics, skills, feats, and arsenal today. Because this is end of game Adult Link, he will have access to all of his items and experiences. Now, if we want to look at Link's raw strength, then it goes hand in hand with the Golden Gauntlets. With these, Link can lift up massive stone pillars that are easily a few tons. While he can't walk with them, he can launch them vast distances and with enough force to shatter them to pieces. If you're curious about his strength without the gauntlets, he can even shift an entire room in the Forest Temple, which can be done with no gauntlet upgrades. While swinging his sword, he has the force to slash through solid ice, and with his shield, he can withstand the force of almost any physical attack. When looking at his durability, Link has survived some crazy stuff. Some examples include falling great heights either undamaged or with very minor damage, being frozen solid, set on fire, electrocuted, and enduring attacks that could wipe out the tops of castles. By the end of game, Adult Link has even received a magical upgrade cutting his damage from enemies in half. Link's equipment and skills are varied and vast. His main attacking weapons are his swords, the first being the Master Sword. The Sword of Evil's Bane not only acts as a link to the past and future, but it is also the only blade capable of hitting the final blows to seal Ganon. With it, he's able to do a charge spin for a massive circle of damage. His secondary blade is the Big Goron Sword, a large, two-handed blade meticulously crafted by Big Goron himself. While this hinders Link's defense, it is the most powerful, reliable melee weapon in the game. It can also be charged for massive damage. Link can also swap between two shields. The first is the Hylian Shield, a sturdy metal shield that Link can use to block most non-elemental attacks and knock back other physical attacks. He also has the Mirror Shield, which can reflect light and has the ability to charge and blast elemental attacks if exposed enough. Now keep in mind, video game characters are only as good as the person playing them, so I have to take into account the peak non-cheating abilities of characters. That being said, Adult Link is a master marksman with the fairy bow on foot, crushing the standards of shooting galleries in Kakariko Village, and is a solid shot on horseback proven at the Gerudo archery range. On top of his normal bow, Link has 3 elemental magic amplifiers, including fire arrows that can be used to launch a fire blast to hurt enemies and light torches, ice arrows to freeze enemies, and light arrows that are used to stun the evil king Ganondorf, after being hit by his own magic blasts, to be fair. The light arrows are also powerful enough to break magic seals that were so strong they could block the powers of the 6 sages. His bombs and bombchus aren't exclusive to his adult self, but they can be used to blast open damaged or fake walls and hurt enemies. As a child, this Link was extremely accurate, shown in Bombchu Bowling. It can be safe to assume that those skills stay with Link. His Deku Nuts for stunning enemies also carry over from his childhood to his adulthood. His use of bottles can round out his arsenal in terms of healing, with the likes of fairies, milk, and potions. Depending on what he carries, Link can be revived or healed up to 4 times. He also has the ability to carry blue fire that can melt otherwise unbreakable red ice. His Megaton Hammer is a weapon with mythical lore behind it, used by a legendary Goron hero to face Volvagia. Like the Big Goron Sword mentioned before, this is a two-handed weapon that negates your shield. However, it is strong enough to shatter stones, blocks, and send shockwaves when hit on the ground. Link also has a long shot that can quickly propel him over 20 meters, latching onto wooden objects and targets. This can also be used to stun, damage, or pull enemies. Our hero of time is also a magic user. As stated before, he can use elemental arrows and spin attacks, but he also knows 3 powerful spells. Feror's Wind can create a teleport point to return to in dungeons. Nehru's Love gives Link a diamond of protection from any damage, but doesn't stop knockbacks. And Din's Fire creates a powerful blazing dome to damage enemies or light multiple items on fire. Magic is also used for Link's Lens of Truth, which can help him see through illusions, chests, and see objects otherwise invisible. He has the option to wear different boots that can be helpful tools. His iron boots can pull him to the bottom of bodies of water and weigh him down, and his hover boots allow him to walk over small distances on nothing but air. Link can also change his tunics for extra abilities as well. Using the golden scale, Link can dive to the bottom of the lakeside laboratory pool, which is very impressive. But with the blue tunic, he can breathe underwater. Similarly, his red tunic lets him endure insane heat and allows him to walk on some lava. Link balances himself out by being able to use multiple tools at once and shift between them in canon instantly. What I mean is the pause screen pauses the world around him to equip and swap his items. Now don't forget, he also has the Ocarina of Time. The songs mostly allow him to warp, manipulate time and weather, open puzzles, contact friends, call Epona, and call the Scarecrow to reach difficult places. Mentioning Epona is important. I know I already discussed horseback archery, but Link is a pretty capable rider, able to win races and jump impressive gaps with Epona. So now that we've analyzed Link's arsenal, strength, and equipment, we reach my favorite section, Feats and Experience. End of game Link has completed 9 dungeons and 3 mini-dungeons. As a child, young Link was able to work through the Great Deku Tree with next to nothing for equipment, stop the Dodongo infestation on Death Mountain, and safely make his way through Jabu Jabu's belly without damaging Lord Jabu Jabu and protecting Princess Ruto at the same time. He started making a name for himself by defeating formidable creatures almost immediately as a child. Queen Goma was a powerful parasite that killed the Great Deku Tree, slayed by young Link. King Dodongo was a big enough threat to cause the Gorons to starve, slayed by young Link. Baronade was most likely going to kill Lord Jabu Jabu, and he was slayed by young Link too. As a child, Link was killing Sage-level threats, and I say this because Darunia didn't even attempt to take on King Dodongo and instead hid himself away with the Spiritual Stone, waiting for the messenger. But when Link reaches adulthood, i.e. the Link that we're discussing, he outclasses the 6 sages pretty early on. In his first adult temple, he handily defeats the 4 Post Sisters, makes his way through the Forest Temple, and gets the better of Phantom Ganon. This is where Ganondorf starts to see that Link may be becoming a threat. In the Fire Temple, we see Darunia go off to fight Volvagia, while Link rescues the Gorons. However, it's still Link that slays the legendary dragon. Canon-wise, this feat is one of the most significant. It's stated that all of Hyrule could be destroyed by Volvagia alone. The Water Temple was a test of Link's resilience of solving puzzles, as Morpha doesn't really stand a chance against Link at this point. On a side note, I think that infiltrating the Gerudo Fortress and taking out the elite guards is worth mentioning as a feat for Link too. So it's Link's next 2 feats that really make him stand out though. The Shadow Temple and the Spirit Temple are both elaborate and thought-provoking. The Shadow Temple gives Link insights to the royal family's dark past while providing a powerful enemy in Bongo Bongo, an enemy that was able to overpower the sage Impa. The Spirit Temple forces Link to use his skills throughout time and take on one of the most powerful magical enemies in the game, Twinrova. Now, before his final battle feats, I want to mention his tracking abilities. Link was able to hunt down Poes throughout Hyrule Field, and more impressively, track down and hunt every gold Skulltula in the game. So Ganon's Castle is essentially a best of skill test, where Link shows mastery in all of the elements. Taking on the King of Evil is pretty impressive, and with Link's arsenal, he is more than prepared. Now, talking about Ganondorf is really important because we have to take into consideration his feats. In 7 years, he was able to take over Hyrule. Ganondorf in this game was calculating, patient, and had plans for almost anything. This version of Link slays Beast Ganon and helps seal him away. This hero always shows courage and drive, which makes sense as the wielder of the Triforce of Courage. Link even shows signs of a sixth sense and clairvoyance as seen in the very beginning of the game, another skill that he could keep in his arsenal. However, one of Link's greatest strengths is his adaptability. He is able to meet challenges in a variety of ways, and if he loses access to a weapon or skill, he can overcome them with a different strategy. I don't think this Link is the most skilled swordsman out of all of the incarnations of Link yet, but he has a hell of a resume. The Hero of Time has defeated legendary creatures, solved an extensive list of dungeons, and worked his way up to become the most formidable warrior in Hyrule at the time. And my first choice for Warriors Analysis. Thank you so much for joining me on this debut episode of Warriors Analysis. Who's next? I am very excited about the possibilities for this series, and I'm excited to take a look at so many characters, so please leave some characters that you would be interested in seeing in the comments below, and I will definitely get to them. Please remember to like and subscribe, and check out my link tree in the description. You might have to copy and paste it into your browser, but there is a lot of really great stuff that I would like to share with you guys. Thanks again.